Hello, everyone. Good afternoon or evening for everyone in Southeast Asia and Australia, and good morning to everyone in Europe. This webinar is about how we at Phoronix can help IT managers in libraries who have to look after computers that see lots of users over the course of a typical day. My name's Tom. I'm going to be taking today's session. Thank you very much for joining. We know that you have a tough job as an IT manager in a library, and we're here to make it easier for you. Just to introduce who we are at Phoronix, we've been around for 30 years this year. In those 30 years, we have sold more than 12 million licenses to more than 33,000 customers in more than 150 countries. A large proportion of those 33,000 customers in 30 years are libraries. So we have extensive experience of helping libraries. Now, if you're an IT manager in a library, you might be used to the tip of the iceberg. What users see, they're used to seeing computers that work. What they don't see, and what you're probably not very often complimented on, is ransomware attacks that you prevent, harmful exe files getting blocked, your antivirus, which is preventing malware from reaching your computers and your users, and also software updates, which are really important to maintain security and deliver the best experience for your users. All this is just expected to happen, or more likely not even thought about. So let's just spend a slide on just the reality that many library IT managers are dealing with every day. So public access computers are used by hundreds of different people, and each user has different needs, different habits, and sometimes they leave machines in a state that the next person just can't use. At the same time, most libraries don't have large IT teams. In many cases, it's just one or two people responsible for keeping everything running. And those devices often aren't all in one building. They might be spread across multiple branches, sometimes across an entire city or an entire region. But despite all of that, the expectation is very simple, that every computer should work perfectly every time a library user sits down. So this is the life of many an IT manager in a library. You might feel like you're forever putting out fires. You're moving from one disaster to the next. You might feel like you're using your resources ineffectively. All these resources here are being used to put out one fire, but it doesn't have to be like that at all. Phoronix has a unique tool called Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze can get you out of this reactive mode and back on the front foot, and you can spend your time on strategy rather than admin. So if that's you in the picture and you recognize those problems, then luckily we at Phoronix, we can help you out. So I'm just going to introduce Deep Freeze, which can really help you with all of these problems. Deep Freeze is a really simple concept, which is reboot to restore. So if you enable Deep Freeze on a computer, then anytime you restart that computer, it will restart in its original state. So any local changes made by whoever used that computer will disappear. And you can set idle time tasks and restart tasks. So for example, you could set an idle time task where if a device is idle for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then it will restart. It's considered that whoever was using it has disappeared, and their data, whatever they were doing, whatever they changed on the computer, is not going to be visible to the incoming library user, who will basically start with a fresh machine. And a restart task, maybe you could restart all your devices every day at the beginning of the day or end of the day. But the goal we're getting to, the goal we all want, is reliable, predictable computers. So libraries want PCs that are always clean, is one. Secure against malware is two. Very easy to update, three. Simple to manage remotely, four. And consistent for every user. So that is what Deep Freeze uniquely provides. If you're trying to manage library IT without Deep Freeze, you're navigating very choppy waters. You're faced with a variety of problems caused by your users, and you don't always have the solution readily available, so it can be a very stressful life. Whereas this is what it's like for IT managers in libraries running Deep Freeze. This dolphin is just progressing totally smoothly through the ocean. It does not look stressed at all. So if you're finding that library IT is a bit of a hassle, that you want to swim like this dolphin, then Deep Freeze is for you. So just to explain a bit more about the benefits of Deep Freeze. So the first benefit of Deep Freeze is that most help desk tickets will disappear. So those nagging everyday issues that a library IT manager is faced with on a daily basis. A library user installed some software they shouldn't have installed, they changed the settings, they messed around with the computer in any way or broke anything at all. Whatever goes wrong, it's just a restart and you've recovered. And you don't need to be physically present to administer that restart. You can restart from the Cloud Console, Deep Freeze's Cloud Console. That's especially useful if in, for example, rural areas where an IT manager might be managing a few libraries that are hundreds of miles apart. And also in that case, it's very useful for the librarian. Maybe there might be one librarian who works in a library without IT on site, and that librarian might not be technically proficient, but it's very straightforward concept for that librarian to understand. If a library user comes along and says, I have a problem with a computer, that a restart will fix that problem. So many library problems can be fixed on site before IT is even involved. The second benefit is a very important one, which is the security benefit. So library users can often engage in risky behavior, which exposes a network to threats. With Deep Freeze, whatever malware is introduced by a library user to a computer, whatever goes wrong, whatever attack takes place, any virus, anything bad at all is totally eliminated. All the malicious code disappears with a restart. That is an exceptionally powerful layer of security, and it is extremely reassuring for IT managers to set a restart task at the beginning of every day, and they know the day has begun without any security concerns. And if a security concern arises during the day, it can be totally eradicated. The third benefit is that you will maintain the privacy of your users. So if in a library you have lots of different people coming and going through the course of a day, there's no need for each of their data, that whatever they've been working on, their browsing history, anything sensitive at all can be protected, because a restart with an idle time task, um, or a restart when the user leaves the device will remove any personal data at all, so that the incoming library user doesn't have access to the previous library user's data. The fourth benefit is that configuration creep will be prevented. So sometimes library users will change stuff that they shouldn't, whether deliberately, maybe actually actively trying to cause harm. I mean, that's less likely, but that can happen. Or more likely, accidentally messing stuff around and deviating from the known good state that you as a library IT manager have defined and that you are happy with. Any deviations from that known good state are eliminated. The fifth benefit is that your hardware that you pay for, or your local government pays for or your university pays for in your library, that's an expensive outlay. Someone's got to stump up quite a lot of cash to pay for all those devices. And that's a decision that takes some consideration. And one of the considerations in deciding when to buy hardware and what hardware to buy is how long it may last. Now, with Deep Freeze, you gain a better return on investment, that expensive investment, because each library user is basically starting every time a library user uses a computer, they're using a brand new computer. So that computer is not slowing down anywhere near as much. The rate of hardware degradation is very much diminished, because you don't have these temporary files clogging everything up. The hard drive's steadily getting fuller and fuller. The performance of that expensive hardware is optimized, and therefore it lasts longer. So it's however many years you are budgeting for when you buy the hardware, you should be getting more years out of that hardware with Deep Freeze before it needs replacing. So Deep Freeze can totally change how IT works in a library. So on the left, it's an inefficient setup often. Problems are being solved manually, taking up a lot of time and resource, and it's not necessarily secure, and users are subject to downtime. Whereas when Deep Freeze is installed in a library for the first time, suddenly a lot of process becomes automated, IT is smoother, extremely secure environment, an IT team finds themselves much more efficient and compliant, and users enjoy uptime. There's no downtime anymore. Okay, so Deep Freeze is really one of an array of tools in our clouds console. I'm just going to spend a little bit of time talking about some of the other tools that can benefit libraries. Starting with software updates. So software updates are really important. When a software update is available, it is often there to shut a security window. If there's a vulnerability that's been identified, it's important that when that vulnerability is patched, that there's a software update available, that update is delivered without any delay to your library users. You're going to avoid those bugs that will inhibit performance and reduce efficiency. You're going to be able to deliver the best experience to your users, delivering the latest features and negating compatibility issues. With Phoronix Cloud Deep Freeze, you can totally automate the delivery of all your software updates. So just looking here at the software updates page, all you have to do is select the applications you want to keep up to date and schedule a time to deliver these updates, normally in the middle of the night. So that means that you can wake your library computers up, say at 2 in the morning, deliver the updates, and then shut the devices down, let's say at 4 in the morning. So no downtime for any library users while software updates deliver. You're cutting your risk of downtime from an attack, and you're protected against known vulnerabilities. And this applies with software updates, and also it's really the same applying to Windows updates. You can schedule everything to happen out of production hours. So none of that frustrating waiting around while your Windows updates deliver before the library can really properly open. Or if you prefer a more hands-on approach, the Windows updates page shows everything you've got pending. So you can approve patch by patch, or you can just have that install missing patches button there in the top right, which will just update your whole estate in one click. And then just moving on to WinSelect, just looking at the console live here. WinSelect is an extremely powerful tool for a library because we've got kiosk mode here. Kiosk mode allows you to totally lock down your desktop. You can say you're basically presenting this locked down desktop to your users. Here are the header, body, and footer elements that I want to allow my users access to. And that means that you can be totally sure that you're providing a consistent experience to your library users, and you're limiting the harm that may come your way. And you can further limit that harm on the System tab here. All kinds of restrictions you can place on your users. You can stop them using Task Manager, right-clicking, dragging and dropping. Control panel, you can show or hide all or hide selected. Desktop and Windows taskbar. You can disable selected drives. I can disable, say, USB sticks there with disabling removable drives. File extensions, start menu, network restrictions and hotkeys. So a whole raft of restrictions you can place on your users. And then one other tool to show you is the inventory tool, which will allow me to see, I can see all my hardware basically, all these attributes relating to my hardware. I'll just scroll along sideways so you can see all this information. If it's hard to keep track of hardware in lots of different libraries, this makes it much easier. I can identify issues before they become serious. So here I have system drive usage of 98%. That's an issue that requires my attention. And there are a few other columns I can drag and drop. So maybe I'm not interested in the operating system. I'll remove that from my grid. But I do want to know the IP address of each of my devices. I'll pop that in. I can just customize this grid to show me once the information that is relevant to me when making decisions about my hardware lifecycle. So your computers are under continuous attack. You might find that you're fighting security battles all the time, but every now and again you lose. Now, what I've kind of shown you in Phoronix Cloud Deep Freeze is a few layers of protection, and the more layers of protection you can pile up between you and your attackers, the better. So first layer of protection is antivirus. So that will stop a huge proportion, like the obvious bad stuff, like viruses, worms, and Trojans. But you probably need, or you definitely really need more layers of protection than just antivirus, because the first thing, and if a hacker breaks in, the first thing they're going to do is turn off your antivirus. So we can give you powerful layers of security. Anti-executable will allow you to block any unknown executable files. So you can define a list of executable files that you allow, and anything that doesn't appear on that list, any unknown threats, will be automatically blocked. Software updates will, if you automate the delivery of your software updates, that is another layer of protection, because the people that make the software, they're identifying vulnerabilities all the time and fixing them, and you don't want a lag before those patches are live. And very much the same for Windows updates. Quite often, if Microsoft issue a security update, there can be quite a long delay before that security update is live in a library. But there's not really any reason for that delay, because you can totally automate it. You can make sure that Windows updates are delivered to your devices on a very timely basis. WinSelect, especially with kiosk mode, is another layer of protection, because you can limit the harm that your users can cause you. Lock down that desktop, display only those applications and web links that you want them to have access to, and then under that system tab, a far greater array of limitations you can place on the behavior of your library users. And then finally, if something bad makes it through those first 5 layers of security, you know that with Deep Freeze, you can recover immediately from any threat at all. So it's an extremely powerful reset button. Those first 5 layers of security do an extremely effective job of limiting your risk. But if you have an extremely sophisticated attacker who does make it through those 5, then you know that you can eliminate any malware forever with Deep Freeze. Okay, so I'm now just going to briefly hand over to our customer, Sean Concannon, who looks after libraries in Cork in Ireland.
My name is Sean Concannon. I work for Cork City Council. My main role is desktop support. We have about 40 satellite offices based around the city. Within those offices, we have 10 library branches. Before we started using Phronix Cloud, about 20% of my time would have been sorting issues with the public machines. The biggest problem we probably had with our public PCs in the branch libraries was people were downloading pay slips or whatever, leaving them on the desktop. So we badly needed a way of trying to tie down what the public could do or couldn't do on the machines. So we wanted to offer exactly what we wanted people to use, be it internet, be it printing, and when the machine reboot, we wanted it back to the way we had it. With WinSelect, we were able to do that. It was amazing how much it actually fitted into what we wanted to do, and that's crucial to our offering, I'll be honest with you. Back in the day, I guess, before we started using Phronix Cloud, we had all of public PCs in the libraries, we had them on a separate domain. What I found especially about it was you had to go to a lot of trouble to fix any issues. It's tied down so well with Phronix Cloud that it works perfectly 100% of the time, all the time. You know, I get emotional kind of about it, because the more you're asking me about back then and now, the more it has drastically changed from the panic, the ultimate panic we used to be in, trying to make sure that our PCs, public PCs, were okay and were safe or whatever like that, to now I can check the cloud and just see if things are okay, whatever like that. God bless WinSelect is all I can say, because it's really solved a major issue for us, and it's a godsend, I'll be honest with you.
If you need support from Phronix Cloud, it's very easy to get. You'll be talking to real people 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. We'll be on the end of a phone. It's going to be friendly, personable, and easy. You're going to be talking to friendly people. there's a free trial available. You can go to forenixcloud.com and sign up for a free trial. And then when you sign up for a free trial, you'll just need to create a policy and then activate whatever functionality you want to turn on of the functionality I showed you. Just enable that in your policy. Then install the cloud agent on the devices you want to manage, which is straightforward, and then you're ready to go. So I'm just going to invite questions. We'll just do a couple of however many questions we have after hearing from one more of our customers and then Q&A.
My name is John. I work for a company called Digiwijs. I'm the IT coordinator.
My name is John as well. I work for Digiwijs as a teacher and also supporting John.
We support about 85 laptops with a team of volunteers. We maintain them, so that means updating, repairing, installing, everything that needs to be done. Before we had to do every laptop individually. We worked for weeks just to update every single computer. And now we don't have to do that anymore. All we have to do is one update and it works for all of them. It used to happen a lot that someone by accident deleted something or uninstalled something or installed something. And now we don't have that anymore because every reboot, it's fresh again.
What I see with the teaching is that it makes our work a lot easier as well, because we don't have trouble anymore with not functioning computers, with Windows updates, looping, stuff like that. They actually can put all their energy and concentration in the lessons rather than in the computers. So that's a major benefit from deep freeze, which we experience here.
Usually nothing happens, so the systems stay intact, they stay perfect.
Yeah.
And if there is a problem, we can solve it remotely.
Okay, so yeah, just a couple of questions. Asking one question there about Chromebooks and Macs. Okay, so with Macs, yes, you can use deep freeze on Macs. So you can restore Macs to their original state with a restart. And you can also deliver software updates to Macs. With Chromebooks, we don't have the reboot to restore functionality available, but you can manage your Chromebooks through our mobile device management module, which is available as an add-on to the main product. And another question there about antivirus. Yeah, so deep freeze will wipe out antivirus definitions if you have your existing antivirus. Deep freeze will clean out your antivirus definition. So two ways around that. One is we have this tool called Data Igloo. So if you're using your existing antivirus and you want to carry on using it, that's no problem. You just need to use Data Igloo, which will preserve your antivirus definitions across multiple reboots. And a second solution is to use our antivirus, which will work alongside deep freeze on a live basis. Okay, thank you very much everyone for your time today. Great to be with you. If you have any further questions, please, if you have an existing partner, please get in touch with your existing partner, or if not, have a look at forenixcloud.com, where you can see lots more information about our services and also how to get in touch with us. Thanks very much, everyone. Have a lovely day, and we'll catch you on the next webinar. Bye-bye.